We're going to turn to Kerouac. I think it was suggested by Irene. And if anybody can get to the text, what I'm going to ask a couple people to do is pick out their favorite of these. Some of them are long, so you don't want to read the whole thing. But maybe pick one out and we can talk about it. So I'm going to ask Dave and Max and Magdalena. Magdalena, do you have access to this poem somehow?
Is this Essentials or Belief and Technique?
Essentials of Spontaneous Prose. Yes. Estelle, can you share? Do you have it with you? Wow, you're so prepared. That is great. So we'll ask Magdalena. So what did I say? Dave, Max, and Magdalena? Did I say that? Okay. Dave, you want to start? Pick something out from this amazing piece?
Yeah, I'll pick the one that begins timing. Nothing is muddy that runs in time and to laws of time. Shakespearean stress of dramatic need to speak now in own unalterable way or forever hold tongue. No revisions, except obvious rational mistakes, such as names or calculated insertions in act of not writing, but inserting. And it's funny, it makes me think of how, editing is inserting, which is just an interesting concept. Like some people think all writing is editing, but this takes a different approach.
Leanne, no revisions. Sounds pretty good to you, probably, right?
Yeah.
Can you say why?
Well, if you get it to the moment of writing the poem, you want to just spill it out, like he says in another list, wild scribbled notebooks of spontaneous joy, like this, getting to that. And if you try to edit it, it's going to kill it.
Exactly. No revisions. I love how he wusses out a little bit by saying, well, except obvious rational mistakes, which, he may have been ironic about that. Okay. Max, pick one, say what you think about it, and then I'll ask Ian to comment in whatever way Ian wants to.
I'll mention the last one here on the list, mental state. If only because I love the way it begins. If possible, write in scare quotes without consciousness and semi-trance, as Yeats's later trance writing, allowing subconsciousness to admit in own uninhibited, interesting, necessary, and so scare quotes modern language what conscious art would censor and write exactly swiftly with writing or typing cramps in accordance as from center to periphery with laws of orgasm, Reich's beclouding of consciousness, come from within out to relaxed and said. I love that all of this is predicated on if possible, which is actually quite generous. You don't have to necessarily be in this headspace to do this. Only if possible, only if the conditions allow.
Only if possible. Yes, a rare moment of humility.
Yeah, exactly.
Ian Morrison, do you ever want to try to write without consciousness, whatever that would mean?
Yeah, I mean, for me, what was coming through in that last one was like what we now talk about so much as semantics. So I find myself thinking about Leanne's practice and about C.A. Conrad's practice. And I guess for me in that, I was thinking, is writing without consciousness writing with a different kind of consciousness where the body is what's conscious?
Beautiful. Wow. Okay, so we are turning to Magdalena, who's been looking at the text. Do you have one you want to pick? And I guess we need the microphone.
Lag in procedure. No pause to think of a proper word, but the infantile pile up of scatological build-up words till satisfaction is gained, which will turn out to be great appending rhythm to a thought and be in accordance with the great law of timing.
What's he saying?
Well, it's like often we think that poetry is about, choosing the right words, but actually it's a lot about what words not to say and what silences to leave. And I think, especially when you're translating poetry, this is a challenge to because it on the surface is like you're trying to think of good words, but in the end it's like finding this inner silence of the poem.
Well said. Magdalena, if I'm not mistaken, you do a lot of translating.
Yes, yes, and sometimes also into English. And here, I rely a lot on contacts with people who are a native speaker of English. For example, Alison, who is my friend from the ModPo, and it's amazing because we do kind of, we have to think to make this bridge between the two languages and try to kind of understand, but it's like you have to go through a lot of silence because you have to really reflect a lot. So sometimes it's like he says that it's like you don't want to pause, but if you don't pause, you're not gonna come to the essence of poetry.
That's perfect. What you said about your interest in translation is exactly what Kerouac is saying in number 5, Lag and Procedure.